Hi guys! So for the next couple of weeks, since you guys can't come to me, I thought I would come to you. And today our lesson is we're just going to continue talking about photosynthesis. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the sugar molecule that forms at the end of it. I wanted you guys to be able to do this along with me. So I want you to go and grab your papers that we passed out last week, your papers with your leaves, and get your red, blue, and white beads. And we're going to do this together. So if you don't have this in front of me right now, just pause the video and go and grab those things. All right, so I have some of the words, and we'll have Marie to come around so you can read them this way. Some of the words of the things that we were talking about. We have xylem and turgor pressure, osmosis, transpiration, and stomata. So when we kind of go through this, we'll come across those vocabulary words, and I'm going to see if you guys can guess which ones are the right ones. So the first part, so for photosynthesis, a plant needs carbon dioxide and water. And we made our carbon dioxide molecules last time we were together. So your white ones are going to represent carbon. And so each carbon molecule, there'll be 6 of them, you can place on your paper like this. And each carbon molecule will have 2 oxygen ones stuck right to it. So they look like this. So you'll end up putting 2 of the blue beads, which represent oxygen, right next to each of the carbon. So who can remember where the carbon dioxide comes from? Well, if you guys said it's what we breathe out, you're right. So we breathe those out, and the carbon dioxide molecules are then in the air. And then the carbon dioxide molecules are going to need to get into the leaf somehow. So if you take a look at these words, one of these words is the word for the openings to the leaf. Can you take a guess? It is stomata. So we're going to turn stomata over since we got to that one. And what happens then is the carbon dioxide that we breathe out will go up through the stomata into the leaf. So you guys can take a moment now to move your carbon dioxide molecules up through the stomata into the leaf, and you'll have 6 of them. Then the other thing that a plant needs besides carbon dioxide in order to make their own sugar is water. And if you remember, the water that a plant gets comes up from the roots. So down here in the soil, we're going to make 6 water molecules. So each water molecule has 1 oxygen, same oxygen molecule that was in the carbon dioxide, but this time the oxygen molecules have 2 hydrogen atoms connected to them. So right down here at the bottom of our plant, we are making 6 water molecules. And who can remember where they go? They go up into the stem through which one of these words? The little tubes that go up the plant. And that would be the xylem. So we're going to turn that one over. Then you go up, they move into the xylem and go up into the stem. So you can move your water molecules one at a time up into the stem of your plant. Remember, your water molecules have 2 hydrogens connected to 1 oxygen. And they're able to move up 1 molecule at a time by one of these other words. And that word would be osmosis. So they move up 1 at a time up the stem into the leaf. And when there's a lot of water molecules in the stem, like this, and that creates a lot of pressure, and it makes our plants be able to stand up nice and straight. And that is the turgor pressure that we looked at when we did our experiments with celery. So we are done with that one. So they move up, oh yes, and osmosis as well. They move up into the plant along with the carbon dioxide molecules. So we have a big group of molecules up in the leaf. And the other thing, the last thing it needs in order to make its own sugar is the sun. And the sun gives energy to these little green spots called chloroplasts. And you guys, if you remember when we did the experiment with the balloons, the chloroplast was the one that got full of energy, and then it broke up all of these molecules, separated them all up. And then when those molecules were separated or mixed all up, they formed a new molecule, a couple of new things. First, the oxygen, got together. Oxygens like to be together. So 6 oxygen molecules formed, and those are 6 pairs of your blue beads. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's the oxygen that we breathe. And it leaves the plant through the stomata. So it goes out into the air like this. And that ends up being the oxygen that we're able to breathe. So we are very grateful that plants give us oxygen to breathe. And then what happens to the rest of these? If you remember from last week, it forms a sugar molecule. It actually ends up being pretty big. And this is a very simplified model of the way the sugar molecule is formed. But we'll go ahead and do this as our model. So the carbon atoms form a circle. These carbon ones are the white ones. And then the oxygen ones go in between each of the carbon, like this. And then, do you guys remember what connects to each of the oxygen ones from our class last week? It is the hydrogen. So each of the blue beads will have 2 of the red hydrogen atoms connected to it, like that. So, like I said, this is a little bit simplified of what really happens, but it'll serve for our purposes. So this, what you end up, this is one sugar molecule. And the plant was able to make that by itself by only having a water and carbon dioxide and the sun. And this sugar molecule is what we're going to focus on today. And in another block on the haiku page, you'll see an experiment where we can actually use something to see if we can find the sugar molecule in our food. So, thank you very much. And oh, the last word, transpiration, that is when water molecules leave the plant, like the experiment we did last week. All right, thank you. Don't forget to check the rest of the haiku page.